This is the Whack Talk, and I'm your host, Weston Alexander Knutson. In my last episode, we discussed how there are consequences for our beliefs. Beliefs are things that we hold deep down to be true, whether they are actually true or not. And the consequences for our beliefs are real. When we put our beliefs into action, some of our beliefs have consequences that can last for the rest of our lives and even affect the next generations. And so, in this episode, I want to talk about how that relates to voting. When we go to vote, we have certain beliefs about what we think the president should do, what type of personality they should have, and we also go to the voting booth with certain beliefs about the different candidates that are running. Whether they are true or not. It depends on what we're listening to, what we're allowing to influence us. And so I believe it is super important to be an informed voter. Don't just regurgitate what the mainstream media says. You need to back it up with facts. You need to know why you believe what you believe, and be able to explain that to other people. Don't just repeat something that you hear from the media, from family or friends, and just vote based off of that without doing any research yourself. You need to dig deep and do your own research. And again, know what you believe and why you believe that. And be able to share the reasons for your beliefs. Don't just vote based on popularity, based on what your friends or family vote for, or even what professors or anyone you respect in your life. Don't just take their word as gospel. Do your research, and especially when voting for such an important position as the President of the United States of America. There's this quote from Albert Einstein. It's, "A foolish faith in authority is the worst enemy of truth." Now, I'm not sure the exact context of how he said this, but I think this really applies to voting and to trusting any type of authority, whether that's a doctor, college professor, lawyers, politicians, law enforcement, and any other position of authority. Even though they may have went to school for a long time for these professions, or you highly respect them, and even if they have a lot of experience in it, it doesn't mean they know everything, and it doesn't mean they haven't compromised and spoken lies. So it's really important to look things up yourself and verify what you believe to be true, what you believe to be the facts. And another great place to start for understanding how to vote is by actually going to our founding documents and reading them, understanding the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, even the Declaration of Independence, and other founding documents. This will give you a better understanding of how our government is supposed to operate. You know, what are the three branches of government and how do they interact with each other, and what authority do they have? It also gives you a better understanding of your authority as a citizen. What are your rights, and how are you to interact with the government? I mean, it's important to remember that the way our founding fathers set our government up is is by the citizens essentially are in charge. We, you know, the government officials, the president, the vice president, they work for us. we pay our taxes to to fund the government, and they are meant to be public servants. They need to listen to the people and represent the people well, make decisions based on what the people want. And so that's important to understand this, and know what your rights are, and know that you can go to your representatives and voice your concerns, and and that's a big part of voting, is to vote the person you feel like will address the issues that you are concerned most about. And so that leads to a couple questions that I think every voter should ask. You know, what are the current issues of our nation, and who do you feel like will do a better job at moving the nation forward in the right direction to solve these issues? The great thing about this election and our two candidates is that both of them have been in office, and one of them is currently in office. So their policies and where they stand, they aren't a secret. We've seen them in action. We are seeing one of them in action. And so the issues that you are most concerned about, how are they handling them? How did they handle them? These are important things to consider. I know for me personally, the border issue is huge. I mean, we are having millions of people coming into our nation illegally. That's going to affect the economy. That's going to affect housing. And so how did each candidate handle this issue? I know the one who is currently in office hasn't done anything to help this issue. So those are things to keep in mind when you go to vote. If the border is a big issue to you, which I hope it is, because it's going to affect how you can afford to live in this country. I have 3 kids and a fourth on the way. And so I want to be able to provide for my family without having to get 3 or 4 jobs just to afford it. And I also want my family to feel safe in the place that they live. And when we have open borders, with people unchecked coming in, uh, that doesn't create a safe environment to live in. So that's another issue um, that you should really consider. And I also want to encourage you not to just focus on one issue. I mean, the border affects many issues, so I wouldn't consider that just one issue. But I just encourage you to lay out all the issues and not just focus on one, because a candidate may focus on one issue and just try to sway you with that. But if that's all they're going to focus on, that's not necessarily going to help the nation as a whole. They need to address a lot of issues, and need to look at their strength as a leader, and uh, and also just listen to them. Are they actually giving a solution to the problems our nation is facing, or are they just spouting out things that they think people want to hear? I know a lot of candidates, especially the one currently in office, uh, they just speak a lot of words, but they haven't actually said where they stand on certain issues, and they haven't answered questions clearly. So that does not make me trust them as much. So these are all things to consider as an informed voter. You don't want to let the mainstream media get you entangled in your feelings and cause you to react to certain things that may not even be big issues, but they're trying to make you make it a big issue. So you need to take a step back and think clearly, ask questions with purpose, and seek the answers, get the facts, and know the truth behind what is being said, and just have a clear head when looking at each candidate. That's super important. And I also want to encourage you not to look at the candidates as someone that you want to be friends with. You don't have to like every part of them. You don't even have to like their personality. The only thing that should concern you is if they can do the job well. That's what you should look at. I listened to a podcast the other day with Pastor Mark Driscoll and Pastor John Lovell, and they were talking about this, and how, we shouldn't look at the candidates as someone we're going to go on a double date with. That's not what we're after. It's not a friendship. It's not a popularity contest. And it's really sad that the office of President of the United States of America has become a popularity contest. That's not what this is. They shouldn't be a celebrity. They shouldn't, um, they shouldn't be your favorite athlete, your favorite actor. Um, they are the president. They are the leader of a nation, and um, they aren't meant to go on stage to put on an act, even though that is what it seems like the candidates do now, which is super sad. They're just entertainment to the people now, and um, and if you're voting in that way, in my opinion, you have no right to vote. Um, and so I just really encourage you and challenge you to look at the truth. Do your own research. Don't allow the media or anyone to influence you without doing your homework. I also want to speak to the Christians. I know these two candidates, and actually the candidates that we've had in the past decade, really, have not been the greatest, and they may not be as conservative, or they may not care about certain issues that you really care about and you wish they would take a stronger stance on. I totally get that. But you only get two. There's only two options, and if you write someone else in, or if you decide to opt out of voting altogether, that's not helping anyone. That's just giving a vote to the worst candidate, honestly. And just remember that, yes, Jesus is the best leader, and we won't get anyone like him ever. And so you can't vote based on that. Don't be self-righteous and feel like not voting or writing someone in is better for the nation. It's only serving you. What you need to do is pick the one candidate that aligns the closest with your beliefs and values. Pick the one who you think will do the best job based on your research and their record, because we can look at their track record, because both of them have been in office before, and that's the best you can do. Pick someone who is aligned the closest with your beliefs and values and your convictions, and the one who is most aligned with truth and reality. And I think that is the best way you can go about this, if that is how you are feeling. So, how do you vote in 2024? By being an informed voter. Do your research, know why you believe what you believe, and be able to back up your beliefs with facts, and do your research and know where the candidates stand. What are their policies? How are they going to solve these issues? Have they answered the questions about these different issues, about inflation, about the border? What are they going to do? Don't focus on minor issues, because the major issues our country is facing right now is the border and inflation. That's affecting how everyone can afford to live. And um, and I don't want my hard-earned money to go towards illegals, and uh, I don't want to spend more than I have to on groceries or gas. So those are the two issues that I'm most concerned about. Um, and they affect everyone. So, so yeah, you need to lay out all the issues and think about which ones are affecting the most people and which ones you care about the most. And then look at the candidates and see who has presented the best solution for the country to move forward with these issues, and who you think will do a better job at solving them. So be an informed voter. Thanks for listening to the Whack Talk.